it's Living a Country Girl, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys my our homeschool, daily homeschool schedule. I've already shared with you guys, and I can put the link in the description box below or up here, our video on kind of how we plan our school year, how I go about with this calendar, if you guys saw this, and how we decide what days we're going to be schooling, and how we make sure we get the right number of days in that are required for our state, and what days we take off and all of that. So I already did a video on how we do that. So you guys can check that out, like I said, in the description box or the link up top. But this is kind of how we actually plan our day-to-day school, like how we go through, how I keep track of stuff. So what we do is, first off, once we've set our days on that first calendar, then we go ahead and we don't necessarily, we kind of have a start time, but we don't necessarily schedule things at like 6 o'clock do this, 7 o'clock do this, 8 o'clock do this, because every day is different depending on what's going on, depending how we're feeling, depending on, I mean, we've got multiple animals and situations arrive, and I might wake up and be like, oh great, the fence is broken, I have to go deal with that, or something like that. So we don't necessarily plan like a set time to start everything. But at the same time, like we know after lunch, we start school because our mornings are really busy taking care of the animals and just spending some time as a family. Sometimes we will do our morning basket in the morning if I know we have a busy afternoon as well. But generally speaking, we start school after lunch. So what that looks like for us is I actually have the kids pull out their computers and they start their teaching textbooks, because that is done on the computer, and so I don't have to be there. So it works really nice because they can start doing their school lesson while I'm actually making lunch. So if they have any questions, because they can move around with their computer, they can just come to the bar and I can help them with that as I'm making lunch. So generally they'll actually start with that, and then we come in, and so while they're eating their lunch, I start with reading the books from the morning basket. So it works out really nice because we're able to kind of, you know, take a little break after they've done one of their hard, core subjects, being their math. They get a little break, they eat their lunch, and I read them from our morning baskets. And if you haven't seen our morning basket, loop basket, there's a video for that as well. And I'll try to remember to put the description down here or up there. So you guys can check that out, and kind of how we go through our morning basket and just spend some time relaxing and just eating our lunch. So other than that, we kind of just go through our day. We finish language arts, and then depending on what we're doing, if our loop schedule is requiring science or history or what it is. So how I keep track of that, again, because I don't actually write out lesson plans. Some days we might work ahead. Some days something comes up and we don't get it done, whether it's kids get sick or, we need to take care of an errand, things happen, life happens. So rather than writing down in my, planner every single day, lesson 1 is done this day, 2, 3, and so on, I literally do this. Now, I picked this up from, I think it's called The Gathered Schoolhouse. I saw her talk about this, and I'm like, I love this idea. It works for us. Maybe it won't work for everybody, but it works for us. So what I've done is, these are like my son's lessons. And so here we have, it's kind of folded in there, his math. And in his math book, he has 118, or on his math program, he has 118 lessons. So either, sometimes I do it every day, sometimes I do it at the end of the week. I will go through, I will see what lessons he's on, and I literally mark it off. This is just numbered 1 through 118. And I just highlight and mark off what lessons we got through. So basically I can look at it and go, okay, we've got 118 lessons. So where do we need to be when we take our Christmas break, our half year break spot? Where do we need to be? And this kind of just helps me do that. Sometimes we actually, like I said, we work ahead. So it just depends. Excuse me. The same thing goes for our language arts. I just mark off the lessons as we go through them so I can kind of keep track. Now in this particular one, we are going to finish up his kindergarten one, and we're going to work on second grade. We're going to skip first grade. I think I told you guys a little bit about how first grade, he needed some of the basic concepts again that he wasn't quite retaining as well. So I wanted to go back and do the kindergarten again, just to really make some of those concepts grasp, and so he gets them and he retains them, because I feel it's so important for those building blocks so that he will be able to move ahead without being frustrated. So we did that, but at the same time, I looked at the first grade book and it was so similar to his kindergarten book that I was like, well, you know what? We're going to skip it because he really grasped those lessons. I probably could have gone on to first grade, but I felt like the kindergarten still broke it down to even a little bit smaller lessons, and he's, with his attention span, that's the best. So we did the kindergarten book twice, and then we're going to actually jump into his second grade book. So I looked at how many lessons are in there, and we have those written out on the second line. So that will be for the second part of the year. Handwriting, 100 lessons. We started handwriting last year, but because we don't necessarily do it every day, it's taken 2 years. and handwriting isn't really something that for my kids that I'm like really focused on. They will learn how to do cursive and they will learn how to do all that kind of stuff, but I don't necessarily think writing the letter over and over and over again is that important. And again, each individual child is different, but for them, they have fairly good handwriting on a normal basis. So I'm not too concerned about handwriting every single day at this point. I think at the beginning it was definitely more important, but for them, the handwriting is just something that we do probably 2-3 times a week, not every single day. And then we have our science units where we just mark off, and then the second part of the year we'll be doing anthropods, and we'll probably have to find a couple more because there's not enough here for our whole school year. And then we have history. So that is how I keep track of their lessons, where we're at, what we need to get done. And it just makes it really simple because I found that when I would write, I have the same thing for my daughter, so she has hers right here. So I found that when I would write each individual lesson, you know, if we got sick a day or if something came up, then my whole planner was all messed up. And I didn't want to have to go back through and erase and rewrite, you know, on Friday, lesson blah, blah, lesson blah, blah, blah. And so it just got to where it was kind of frustrating for me. And my planner was never in coordination where I was. So I decided to do this way because then I can keep track and at least make sure we're getting our lessons done and we're at the right spot at each quarter, each semester, but without necessarily messing up my planner if we miss a day or two. So we'll absolutely love that. The next thing I have is our monthly tracker. And again, this is something I just printed up off Canva. I just made a little thing for it. And it's just something for me to kind of evaluate the kids. So I can go through and I can be like, math, how is he faring? Is he, you know, his comprehension, does it seem poor, fair, average, or excelled? And the same thing with the attitude. And now this isn't necessarily, like I said, it's not a grading thing. It's just more or less to make sure that they're comprehending it and that they're having a positive attitude about it, because I think attitude's a big part of it. So every month we just kind of go through, you know, I write their name and I kind of go through and evaluate where they're at and how they're doing. So that's pretty much how we plan it. And then I do keep obviously track of their grades each semester and quarter. So that's pretty much my teacher binder. Really small, really thin, because I don't necessarily have to have a huge lesson plans. They're all kept either with the Good and the Beautiful, the teacher manual, and the student manual are all, like, in the student workbook are written into one. So I don't have to have a whole stack of extra teacher books, which I love. And it just keeps it really simple. So we try to make it simple. We try to make it where it works with our family. Of course, this isn't going to work with everybody's family, but it's kind of a way of kind of having that more relaxed homeschool environment, but at the same time, making sure the work that needs to get done is getting done. So that was how we do it. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you found it helpful. If you're somebody who kind of falls into that same category where you don't necessarily have your, you know, dedicated Monday through Friday lessons or whatever it may be, you're not in that strict one. I know some people that are maybe more A personality have to have it written on their, you know, calendar, lesson each day in details. That's not me. So this works for us. And maybe if you're in that same personality category, hopefully you'll find this video really helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you liked it. Make sure that you did not check out last Sunday's homeschool video on our homeschool curriculum that we're using for the 2018-19 school year. Be sure to check that out because we have an amazing teaching textbooks curriculum giveaway where you guys get a year of curriculum from teaching textbooks. They're 3.0. You get to pick your grade, and they are going to give away a year of curriculum, which is amazing. That's like over $100 value. So be sure to check that out. You can sign up for the giveaway. There's a raffle copter in that video. Again, the homeschool curriculum. I'll try to put a link up here for that. And we will be announcing the winner for that next weekend. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video and it helps you out. And we'll see you guys all again real soon. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye.
Jesus, wake me from my sleep.